Welcome to the homestead. Sorry we're getting a little bit of late start here. Like 2-3 minutes late. It's been sprinkling on and off, so I had to move things into the shop here. Sorry if there's a little bit of echo or you hear some rain. And we're doing live things on a homestead. That's how it is. But today we're discussing Jacob and the mess he made of his family life and what we can learn from it. Jacob really screwed up his life. Like I titled this video, Jacob was the original Jerry Springer family. He screwed a lot up. His kids, his family, or his multiple wives, and he screwed them up too. And a bunch of his kids screwed up. But eventually he gets things figured out. We're going to go through his family life and how he screwed things up. And then next week, we'll move on to some of the stuff his children did and wrap up his life, probably. That's the thing with discussing the patriarchs is all their lives are so intertwined because they're all related to each other, fathers and sons. The sons start coming along and doing things before while the fathers are still part of the story. Yeah, let's see if I can move the camera a little bit better to get a little bit better lighting here. We'll just deal with that. All right, so we talked about last time how Jacob screwed over his brother and he ran away because his brother Esau was going to kill him. So he ran away to his father or his uncle's place. And we also discussed how he made amends with his brother. And it was mostly his brother that reached out and forgave him first. Some good lessons there. But anyway, while Jacob's at his uncle Laban's house, he meets Leah. And man, does he already meets Rachel. And man, does he love Rachel and wants to marry her. So he agrees to work for Laban for 7 years to marry her. And Laban, after 7 years, decides that his other daughter, Leah, is probably not going to get married. So he switches his daughters at the wedding. So Jacob ends up marrying Leah instead. And the next morning, he wakes up after consummating the marriage and everything. He's married to the wrong sister. So Jacob gets mad. He marries Rachel too, the sister he loves, the woman he loves, and then works for another 7 years to be allowed to marry her. So now he's worked 14 years, but it's obvious from the very beginning. Now he's married to 2 women, and he loves Rachel and doesn't love Leah, and that causes all kinds of issues. So first off, polygamy, don't do it, bad mojo. The Bible never specifically calls out polygamy as wrong, but every time the Bible shows or talks about polygamy, it's wrong. It causes all kinds of problems. So, and then he never reconciles his 2 wives and gets them to get along with each other. He plays favorites the whole time, which causes favoritism and rivalry between them, and favoritism and rivalry between his children, and it just keeps passing on to the next generation. So we need to make sure we don't pass along generational rivalries. We need to make sure we're not doing things that are going to cause issues, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us and then future generations. We need to be bringing peace and harmony to our families and those around us. All right. So, at first, Rachel's not having any children, but Leah is. So Rachel says, hey, I have my handmaiden. Why don't you take my handmaiden and have children with her? Then those would be considered my children. So then Rachel's handmaiden is having children. And then Leah is no longer having children. So Leah gives her handmaiden to Jacob to have children with. And then they're back and forth. And now he's got 4 wives, 3 of which he didn't really care about, and one isn't the one he loves the most isn't having children, and there's all kinds of rivalries, and 2 of them are glorified slaves of the other 2 wives, but they're all his wives, and like I said, Jerry Springer stuff here. This is like Bronze Age Jerry Springer, and so they all end up having kids. Even Rachel eventually has 2 children, and those children do not get along well with each other, and basically are divide themselves up into groups based on whose mom they have, which is understandable. They're only my half sibling. I'm going to stick with my siblings more than my half siblings, and there's rivalry and jealousy between them, and Jacob ends up spoiling the kids from that he has with Rachel because they're his favorite kids, and not taking care of his other kids. And we need to treat our kids equally. And even though, like, I'll use my 2 as example, they're different kids, lots of differences between them. One's neat, the other's messy. One is diligent about doing his schoolwork, the other one you have to watch all the time. One's content with being in his room and playing by himself. The other one wants more attention from the family. But we got to balance those. We got to take the one that's messy and teach him to be clean. We got to take the one who's clean and teach him to be okay with other people around him being a little messy, because he's going to have to deal with that as he grows, when he has his own family, when he works, places, stuff like that. And no, that was a bad idea for the video, but whatever. It's a little hot in here. I don't have fans put in the workshop yet. So I got to work with the kids and get them to work with them as individuals and get them to work on their strengths and their weaknesses and treat them as individuals, not just teach the kids to do both together. Say, hey, you need to yell at them and say, hey, clean your room better, when one already has his room clean. I need to work with both of them where they're at. So we're going to touch a lot on this when we talk more about Joseph. So Joseph is the firstborn son of Rachel. He's not Jacob's firstborn son, but Jacob treats Joseph as if he is the firstborn. He gives him special things. He gives him, some translations say a coat of many colors. Some say it's some sort of special fancy coat that the other kids don't have, that shows that he's the favorite and the special kid. And this has caused all kinds of drama and rivalry between those kids. And they end up plotting to kill Joseph. And instead of killing him, one of them does talk them into just selling him into slavery. I guess that's an improvement over killing him, but not by much. It ends up God takes that and uses it for good. But again, we're going to discuss that in more details when we talk about Joseph. But while Jacob loves his children, again, he doesn't treat them equally, and he causes rivalries between his kids because of his mistakes. Him allowing himself to be married to 4 women, him allowing himself to do all kinds of terrible things. And I got somebody's, I don't know how to read it. Where'd it go? I don't know where it went. But anyway, sorry if you're the person who commented and I can't figure out how to read it now. I saw it, but then it went away. Anyway. And then we see Dinah, or one of Jacob's daughters. We don't know how many daughters he has. He has at least one that's mentioned. And it's Dinah. And Dinah gets raped, which is terrible and horrible thing that happened to her. She gets raped by Shechem, this prince. And Jacob makes a deal to basically smooth things over, but he doesn't actually deal with the problem. He doesn't deal with the fact that his daughter got raped, and he kind of sweeps it under the rug. Well, a lot of his kids, and I don't know whose daughter, which of the wives Dinah's the daughter of, but some of Jacob's kids get really mad about it, and they end up going and, long story short, murdering an entire city. And it causes nothing but problems for Jacob. But instead of Jacob dealing with it and punishing his children, he just packs up the whole family and moves to an area a little bit further away. That way they don't have to deal with the problem he just caused, or they just caused, instead of going and punishing his children. He allows his children to get away with it and actually helps cover up what they did. And we got to punish our kids for what they do wrong, but punish them in a way that teaches them a lesson and is in accordance to how they screwed up. So if they just screw up a little bit, we can't punish them a lot. But if they screw up a lot, we can't punish them a little bit. The crime has to match the punishment has to match the crime they committed. And hopefully it's not a real crime. Hopefully it's just they were supposed to clean the room and didn't, or something like that. And we can't just make everything, when our kids screw up, we shouldn't make them not accountable for it. So being involved in Scouts, we had a kid recently in the troop that he got away with all kinds of stuff. His parents just swept everything under the rug for him. The only time he's really gotten in trouble is he groped a girl in school, and even the school tried to cover that up and stuff. And he only got 3-day suspension for it. And then he decided he wanted to play with some matches and fire starting stuff. So he hid underneath the neighbor's truck and almost burnt the neighbor's truck up so he could get away playing with matches. And they just covered that up and let it go. Well, eventually he was playing with matches or a lighter or something again in their garage, and caught their garage on fire and burnt part of the garage. And they were renting, so the landlord kicked them out. And they didn't punish their kid at all for that. He also, we were on a camp out at a historical site. He got bored and mad that he couldn't play video games and stuff, so he decided to take rocks and throw them through the window of one of the historical buildings. And again, his parents bailed him out and covered it up, and he didn't get in trouble for it. And he's not learning any lessons. And I hope I don't raise my kids that way. I hope I teach them in such a way that they actually understand the difference between right and wrong, and understand what their role in society is and how to be good people, be godly people. All right, so this is Reuben. We got to talk about Reuben's first mistake. We're going to talk about Reuben's other mistakes later on. But Reuben decides to sleep with Rachel's handmaiden, which is Rachel's handmaiden, Bella, which is one of Jacob's wives. He has children with her. And the reason he's doing this is because he's trying to have a kid with one of Jacob's wives in order to usurp the family. And he's trying to become higher in the birthright in order to become the firstborn and inherit all this. He's trying to usurp Jacob as the family leader. And Jacob finds out about it, and he's mad at Reuben, and he's upset with Bella too. And even though Bella didn't have any options in it, didn't have any choice in it. But what he doesn't do is actually anything to Reuben. He's mad at him, but he just covers it up and doesn't deal with it. And then later on, before Jacob dies, he then just curses Reuben. He didn't do anything to him anywhere along the line. Again, he doesn't want to do anything. So he just keeps covering up all the mistakes of his kids and all the mistakes of everybody around him. He doesn't want to deal with them. He doesn't want to be a good father. He doesn't want to be a good leader. He just lets these things happen and sweeps them under the rug so he doesn't have to deal with them. And I know a lot of people that do that kind of stuff. We need to stand up for what's right, especially for those people around us. If our friend is doing something, being loyal to your friend is important. But if your friend's doing something wrong, like your friend drinks too much or whatever, it's important to go to your friend and say, "Hey, you're drinking too much. You need to cut back on this. Hey, I saw you yelling and cussing at your wife and calling her names the other day. That's not how you should treat your wife." And we should do that even more for our own children and our own family. But Jacob didn't, and we should learn from that and learn from his mistakes. Also, I didn't have it in my notes here, but Jacob is such a wimp and so pathetic and not willing to stand up for what's right that one of his kids finds a bunch of mandrakes and brings them home. Well, that son, I don't remember which son it was. It might have been Reuben. But that son's mom says, "Hey, thanks for bringing me these mandrakes." And one of the other wives is like, "Hey, I want those mandrakes." So the one who wants the mandrakes actually says, "Well, it's my turn to be with Jacob tonight. You can sleep with Jacob if you give me your mandrakes." And Jacob went along with it, and he's okay with it because he can't stand up for himself at all, and he even lets his wives treat him like property and pimp him out to each other and trade him for mandrakes, some fruit. He's a pushover, and he doesn't stand up for himself at all. And even though he's one of the 12 or one of the patriarchs, he's changed. He wrestles with God. He becomes Israel, the leader of the 12 patriarchs of the 12 tribes of Israel. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do at all. It's only because of God's grace that he's allowed to have anything in his life, because he does not go out and do it himself, except for on very rare occasions, like when he goes and apologizes to her brother. One time he stands up to Laban, but the rest of the time he's just like, whatever, I don't care. So that's about it. I got one other section. We're going to talk about that next time when we talk about Joseph, and we'll link Jacob's life back in with Joseph because they're father and son. So if you like this kind of stuff, if you like preparedness, homesteading, or discussions on following the Bible to become better men, we're on this road through these live streams I've been doing in order to get to David and his mighty men. That way we can learn from them. I want to model my behavior off of the people of the Bible. I'm calling it the Aspiring Mighty Men lifestyle, named after David's mighty men. And I'm on the road with these live streams to get to that. So if you want to follow along, check out the playlist, check out the rest of my channel. You can follow me here. You can follow me on Telegram. It's t.me/prepare to prosper. There's a link in the description. That's all I have. Again, if you want to check out some more stuff on homesteading and preparedness, or living the inspiring mighty man lifestyle, learning from the people of the Bible, learning to be a better disciple of God, check out the channel. And that's all I got for this week. Hope see you again next week.